Welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. And when I started this show in 2008, I was on a mission to promote women-owned businesses and help women succeed by providing resources and valuable tips from other women and men, small business owners. In each interview, my guests speak openly about their triumphs, the scary times, and tough decisions they had to make along the way. Women Entrepreneurs Radio is about showing women how to harness their natural strengths to achieve success on their own terms. Hi everyone, welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host Deborah Bailey, and my co-host Kerry Heaps is joining me again today for a discussion about multiple streams of income. So I think this is going to be a very interesting topic. They all are, but this should, really be a good one for those of you who are wondering about that and how important those are for your business. So I'm going to introduce Kerry. Kerry Heaps is the founder and publisher of Strictly Marketing magazine. She's also the host of Strictly Marketing Talk Radio. The magazine has recently spun off an online community for women and men too, looking to gain more media exposure. Pitch Like a Bitch Media. She owns Knockout Marketing, a business-to-business telemarketing and lead generation firm. Her passion is to help other entrepreneurs with their marketing efforts to continue their dream of running a successful business. So welcome back, Kerry.
Thank you, Deb. Always a pleasure to co-host with you, my friend.
Yes, I totally agree with that. We always have some very interesting conversations, and I'm sure this will be yet another one.
Of course, it's us. Rest assured, it will be interesting.
That's for sure. Oh my goodness. So when it comes to multiple streams of income, this is always a thing, I'm sure, as long as you've been in business. So it's not to say that this is something that's brand new, but why do you think that this is really important today?
Well, a couple of different reasons. I would say that the most important one, though, has got to be that I think over the past really 10 years, you've seen entrepreneurs, small business owners that just have not been able to make it. They are closing down at very fast rates. They're maybe selling out their business or trying to get a partner involved in their business because they are just not able to make ends meet. And maybe they're only doing one thing. Maybe it's just an accounting firm and they don't have enough clients. Mm-hmm. Or there might be different times of the year. You look at CPAs with business tax returns. There's certain times of the year that they're crazy busy, and then for several months they might have nothing else going on. Mm-hmm. So it's to kind of bridge that gap. It could be a brand new business owner that's getting started and really needs to have more, some type of income coming in, to pay the bills until things take off. So I really feel that it's, financially, it's very important. It's vital to a business. And two, I think we've gotten to a point, Deb, with our economy that, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's getting tough to just have one thing that you're doing. I look at different things that people are doing now that, you look at an electrician. My father had his own business for many years, and that's all he did. He did commercial, residential, and industrial. Mm-hmm. And you look at electricians now, and they might also offer a plumbing service, or, they don't just do electrical work, but they also do design work, like maybe to design lights or something like that. Or they might sell some type of electrical products on their site at all times. Mm-hmm. They have something else going on, and it's just the way that our economy has been, that we need to have an additional stream of income. And there's a lot of people telling you now that it's a good idea, not just from the standpoint of having multiple streams of income, from the standpoint of, hey, it could really enhance your business, that from a financial standpoint, getting, each stream of income could be something different for your financial situation. One could be for retirement. One could be for paying off debt. So overall, there's different reasons for needing it, but I think overall it's a positive thing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that for a lot of people, I work with in AT&T, for instance, a lot of them had side businesses, that they were doing different things, maybe IT, maybe just whatever other thing that they enjoyed doing, were able to turn it into something. Maybe they were cooking, it could be anything. So this is a concept that people have done for quite some time. And I think it's really great that people just haven't done, one thing. So I think it's something that should carry over into the business realm as well. And I think something else that showed me was important was when, I left corporate. And at the time, when I left corporate, a lot of the internet was really, the internet's been here for quite some time before, everyday people were on it. But at the time, there were a lot of things changing. Of course, in the economy, this was before, 2008 and 9 and all the crash and all that kind of thing. But when I came out around 2005, 2004, you're starting to see more people like, say, virtual assistants now could work from anywhere and do X for you. You didn't really have to have someone actually come into your home if you have a home business. But then at the same time, it opened up people. I was at one point working with someone who did transcriptions from the Philippines. And her transcriptions were just as good as someone here. And it was kind of hard for me I'm like, okay, I want to hire someone here in the States, but, I didn't quite have the finances. And this person's work is on the same level. So, like, say, as a writer, when I went to some freelance writing, you're not just competing with other people in your neighborhood. Let's say you have a brick and mortar store. You're competing with people around the world. And this changes the whole environment. Technology is a plus, but then it also opens up everything to everyone. So now you can't just do that one thing and think, oh, well, la, 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 I just create this one thing or do this one thing and that's great. You've now got to look and see what else you've got to put out there and bring to the table, and just to compete, because other people are learning and they've got the technology too, and they're coming up to speed and they're offering that thing and they're looking what's the next app, what's the next technology, what's the next way I can jump out here. So it becomes something where it's a necessity to be able to do more than one thing. You've got to do more than walk and chew gum at the same time. You really have to come with more than just that one thing that you do, just out of just necessity and just to be versatile, because things are constantly changing. And technology has definitely been, to me, the big change that has swept through and really changed everything.
It is. It's kind of a double-edged sword with technology because it's brought more options for all of us, but it's also changed the landscape of, and you're right, years and years ago, I knew a person who was which they call them virtual assistants now, but I think when they first, freelance secretarial services is what they were called. And the person that I knew that did that had tons of business. And again, this was probably 20 years ago, maybe 25. And she made a great living. I think she charged like $50 an hour, and she was very good at what she did. But now you can get a virtual assistant and pay $10 an hour for the same type of work. And like you said, it might not be someone in this country. So it's been a double-edged sword. It really has. Yes,
definitely. And that's something I found out at the time that I came out. And I mean, even when I was incorporated in IT, that was already happening. That was happening before people realized what was happening, in terms of the outsourcing and the work going all over the place, or even just trying to compete with the young'uns, who are like 19 or 20 and are hungry. And I don't mean literally hungry, but hungry for advancement. And, a company is going to say, okay, if you can travel to all these different places, we're going to pay you lots of money. You may not have any downtime, but if you're out there, you just got out of school and you're ready to go, you're going to take that. Or maybe someone else who has, doesn't want to leave their family, or maybe isn't in the mindset that I want to travel 5 days a week, that may not be the way you're going to go. But now technology is making it so that now the whole lifestyle has changed, and maybe that's not what you want. So it has led to people having to make different choices, but as we're saying, a double-edged sword. At the same time, depending on the kind of work you do, maybe, personally, I would like to be able to travel more. I like to be able to do my work from somewhere else. I'd like to be able to, visit Kerry and say hi. And
that's right.
Because I have an aunt in Orlando, and I loved it when I visited there. But I would love the idea of I'm taking my laptop or my tablet, and I can still do what I have to do. So it is a double-edged sword, as you're saying, and there's pluses and minuses. But I think that the person who thinks, well, I'm just going to be this one thing and that's it, is really going to find that this is not going to work in this really connected world. And I think that's something that people really need to open their minds to, especially if you're coming out of corporate where maybe you were just doing one thing. You really have to open up your mind that this is not the way you're going to have to be when you come out. And I'll just throw one more thing out there is in writing. I also do fiction writing, and self-publishing, again, changing the playing field, has really changed the playing field. And traditional publishing is feeling the pinch, I can tell you. It's book sales. But what happens now is that the author gets out here and wants to be the author entrepreneur, can't just say, I'm just going to write this one thing, and I'll, do a book a year or something. You have to start turning it out, because now you're competing with other people in your genre who may be writing boom, 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 and getting the books out there. And now for you to establish yourself, you have to maybe write a little faster. Maybe you have to try different genres, or maybe if you were in a traditional publishing, maybe they want you just to be one. But now, if you're managing it, you're going to have to now be like the CEO of your publishing and your writing. So now you have to be a lot more versatile than maybe you were before. So it's in every industry, I feel, where people can do these things. Now you're being called on to really think way outside the box, as opposed to how maybe people could have done when there was a lot more structure in place.
Well, I also think too, Deb, people who are in corporate, there's quite a few people, and some of them do make good money, and it could be for reasons of child support, alimony, it could be back taxes. There could be something that has pushed them to start a part-time job, or maybe do, create an additional line of income, getting into direct sales, maybe starting their own business. And sometimes too, if they become successful at that and they're making good money at their part-time business, that opens up a door for them to leave that corporate job.
Yeah.
Jump into the business full time, and then have another, do something else to spin off of that as a part-time income as well, and just repeat that process.
Yes. And that definitely happened when AT&T started laying people off. And some people, they were ready because they already had their thing going on. And so their mindset was more open, where maybe people who never did anything else, never worked anywhere else, because AT&T was one of those companies where people could start out of high school.
Well, too, there's no more job security. I mean, people think, and even corporate, non-corporate. I mean, we get our PR updates, just the different press releases that come out. And I read the other day that JEA, which is the electrical company in Jacksonville, that they're shutting down one of their plants. So there's automatically 200 people right there that are going to be without a job. And I think it's going to be in less than 3 months.
Wow.
We saw something else last month, I think it was, where and I can't remember the restaurant chain, but I think it was, like Bonefish Grill. It may have been the Darden companies that were closing down a certain number of restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to shut down so many locations, and it was going to put thousands of people out of work.
Wow.
And again, same thing. They're not really giving those people a huge amount of time. It's just, hey, we're shutting down, and you're working till the end of the month or what have you. So they don't really have that a whole lot of time. So having another stream of income is always going to be important, whether you're an entrepreneur or not.
Yes, you're right. You're right. That's very true. That's very true. I think it's key for people to do that, and they may not even realize how versatile they really are. The thing you're giving away, the hobby you have may be something that someone would pay you for, but you're not thinking that way. So it's really good to really think about what you have to offer. And a lot of people do have other things to offer, but they may not have even seen it. They don't realize it, so they're not really counting that. But, what suggestions do you have for entrepreneurs who want to add additional streams of income?
Well, first and foremost, I would figure out, if you're wanting to do it or do you need to do it? Figuring out, if you're catching this in time and you're like, hey, I don't want to get caught off guard someday, maybe I should start looking at doing this. Or if you've got an immediate need, I think that is going to structure what you might do or what you might have to do, because I think you really need to take a look at the industry you're in. Figure, if you're offering a product or you're offering a service, and there's multiple ways you can do it. You just have to sit down and think about, what other complementing products or services could I offer in my business? Accountants could offer, to sell software. There's plenty of companies out there that sell software. They could add a line where they're selling merchant accounts, for people to take, for businesses to take Visa and MasterCard. If they are a real estate agent, it might be that their next stage would be interior design, or maybe staging, or maybe getting dually licensed and becoming a mortgage broker. So thinking about the industry that you're in, make a list of all the complementing products or services that are in your industry that somebody can use in conjunction with what you already do. That's always the easiest thing. To give you an example, I have the magazine. The flip side of it, I have Omega Image, which is an image consulting firm. We do color analysis online, and we just do different things in regards to image for both men and women. And I have several streams of income that go with that, because we have a cosmetics line. So that's factored into, the packages that we sell in our service. And then I also have a direct selling line with that too, with It Works, with the, wrap products, because those go hand in hand with the, people who are trying to change their image might be in a process of getting healthy. They want to lose weight, whatever the case may be. So those are good complementing products. And they work very well for our other clients that are in the pageant industry, because they may not be, they might need to lose a pound or two, or firm up a little bit before their pageant. So that's a great way for them to do that. So, those are things that are complementing to what we do. So you just have to really think about your business, the complementing products and services that you can offer. Is there something already set up? And if there is something already set up, that's the easiest thing to do. If you're going to try to create a product or service all on your own, know that it's going to take longer. So if you're in immediate need of cash, let's say within the next 3 months, you've got to get this done, go with something that's already established, because they already have the wheel invented. All you have to do is just start implementing that into your selling routine. If you sell health insurance, you might want to start offering life insurance. You're already licensed for it, so all you have to do is pick up the products that are, that you want to sell and start marketing those to your current base. And you can offer it, in the future to the, the new people that you're promoting to. There's some agents that are also selling like human resources software, which is a really good thing too. So, there's just different ways that you can do it. It really just depends on, is this a want that you want to do, or is it a need that you got to have it? If it's more of an immediate need, you have less time to work with. If it's a want, maybe maybe you want to start offering consulting services, and you've got to put together a book, or you got to put together a program, and that's going to take longer to do. But if it's a want, you want to implement a multiple or another stream of income, you have the time to do it because you want to do it, not because you need to. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
it does.
So those are a couple of things. And then, the other thing I would just throw out there is don't overlook direct sales. I think direct sales has gotten a really bad rap. But I think a lot of people are realizing now, especially with the way the economy is, that it's a great way to earn extra money. And if, you might have some friends that are doing some type of direct sales opportunity, and, you can always ask them more about it. And it might be something totally different than what you do. But if it's something that you're interested in, of course, definitely explore that opportunity. It doesn't always have to be complementing, but I think if you are going to implement multiple streams, it makes it easier to work with if it all relates to the product or service that you sell.
Right. I agree. Because for instance, I was looking at some people online who had like Etsy shops, and, I've been looking at that for a while and just seeing what's going on and blah, blah, blah. But what I realized, and I was totally out of the loop about, was the explosion of printables. People printing out, like, say, checklists or resume templates, or even paper that they use for scrapbooking. There's people who design paper that's really beautiful, and you print it off and you use it for your scrapbooking or for your, different things you may be doing. People just sayings and motivational sayings, instead of you going out and buying the thing, you can print it off right in your printer and put it on your wall, put it in a frame, or even if you're a photographer, that kind of thing. And I was really kind of clueless because I was like, well, printables? Why do people want my printables? And then I started to see more and more. I'm like, wow, this is a whole thing that I wasn't even considering. For whatever reason, just wasn't something I was tuned into. But now I'm seeing, wow, this is very interesting. It's not necessarily that you have to create a physical product. Even if you do create a physical product, there's a couple of companies that you can like have a saying or a logo or whatever, and you can have it printed by these companies, and then they will actually ship it to, whoever orders it. So you even have to be the one that puts it together. That's even out there now. I've seen a couple of companies that do that. So there's all these things, and I've seen some entrepreneurs who will have coaching, then they'll have the physical products they sell, the cups and the notebooks, and, maybe they got the Etsy shop with the checklists or something, and then they've got something else going on. And I'm like, wow, all this has been going on. I've kind of not been paying attention to it, which I'm like kicking myself, because I always pride myself on keeping up with things, but this whole thing is happening, that people are seeing, wow, I can do all these different things and put them out here and still kind of be within my wheelhouse. It's not like necessarily that you're going outside of what you're doing. But then again, if you create an Etsy shop that's really kind of separate from your main business, and you branded it differently and have your own thing there, it's not saying you can't do that. But there's a lot of options, yet again, that are out here that obviously people want, because I don't think that all these people will be doing it if there's zero demand. But it may be things you may not even think about that may line up with things that you're interested in, or that you already may provide in some way and don't know you can tap into. So I would just, keep that in mind as well. And direct sales, something I could say also is something that you could also keep your mind open about. Because, for instance, people are promoting those things, like, say, on Pinterest is very much a thing there. For visuals, particularly if you're doing something visual, that's a great place, or even Instagram as well. So there's different ways that people are doing multiple things. But at the same time, and I'm going to throw this back in your court here, Kerry.
No, just kidding.
There's a stigma about doing more than one thing. And I think that doesn't exist. So what do you think about that?
Absolutely. There's a huge, huge stigma. And I I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit about this because I feel that a lot of that comes from some of these people who are, quote unquote, as we've talked about them before, gurus who don't know their head from a hole in the ground. That just really, if you spend time on one thing, that takes time away from another. And that's true. That is true. You spend an hour working on your business, that's an hour away from your family. So that's true to an extent, but then, again, you have to realize, and I like the idea about the shirts and the, the coffee mugs, and we're even looking at doing that for the magazine, doing some really cute stuff with that because, people will buy those and you can use them as promotional items.
Yeah.
But that's also a great idea. I mean, the possibilities are really limitless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you have someone who might be a real estate agent and maybe they're also a personal trainer. And let's just say they also, because they're a personal trainer, they're selling vitamins part-time. So, they're doing all of these different things. And, a lot of the gurus out there have been saying, you need to stick with one thing, be the expert on one thing, be the go-to person for one thing. And in hindsight, that's good advice, but it doesn't really apply to where we're at in the economy anymore. Because every business has dips, every business has an up and down period, and not even having anything to do with the economy, just the way that it cycles through. Yeah. So you have that, and then you also have, those people who are, maybe their business is phasing out or they're losing the momentum for it. They're really not interested in it anymore. And then you have people saying you should stick to that one thing, or, if you're getting into another business, you're probably not doing that well in the first one. Those are all things that it's speculation. And I see, and I'll share a quick story, and I may have shared this with you, Deb, I don't remember, but, I had, because I do, it works as well, I have the magazine, and do I have other people that help me with everything that I do? Of course. I don't do everything myself. I couldn't. It's just a physical impossibility. But, the image consulting is something, I actually started my business to be an image consultant. A lot of people don't know that. I just fell into the marketing stuff as things went along. And it's something that I enjoy thoroughly, that I have a huge passion about, and I have made an effort to get back into more this past year and this year included. And, so part of the image consulting is, we have our packages where people can, get a color analysis done. They can get their, makeup colors picked out for them and sent to them. And, that's our own line for K-Couture. And then we also have the direct sales aspect of it with the It Works products that we factor into some of our packages depending upon what people need or want. So do I market with the It Works stuff? Absolutely. Do I carve out some time in my schedule to market that? Because a lot of the people who are in direct sales will tell you, you can market anymore, from your phone or from the computer, your laptop, desktop, whatever, and market online, through Facebook or Instagram and get customers. And that's absolutely true. You can do that. So I've implemented some of those marketing things into my day-to-day activities. And I think it was last year I had reached out to someone who incidentally was a business coach. And she was one of those people who really preached about, you should only be doing one thing. And when I had reached out to her, sending just a basic message, I kind of got a not snippy, I shouldn't say that. It was sort of I don't really know anybody who would be interested, but I have to gander that your marketing business must not be doing that well if you're in direct sales now.
Wow.
And I just, I think what happened, because we have a lot of the products that we have are weight loss. I do promote a lot of the health and wellness products simply because I have more experience with those. And that's really what I push, but I may have pushed some wrong buttons with her. Could have been a bad day. Who knows? But, again, after looking at, some, her page and everything, that's really where that's where her mindset is. That's what she tells her clients. Focus on one thing. And there's just one problem with that. If you're focusing on that one thing and things aren't going that well, or you hit a down period, if you don't have a backup plan, you're going to be in trouble.
Right.
And, I did converse back with her, and that went very well. And it was, a nice conversation, but It doesn't mean that my marketing business is bad. Absolutely not. If anything, that's what feeds me. That's what really, feeds me. And like I said, it allows me the time to work on this other stuff.
Right.
But that's that stigma that people think, oh, this week you're doing this and the next week I see you're doing this. So which one there's nothing, a lot of people do more than one thing.
Yeah.
And it's just get over it. I think there's just too many people out there promoting that just do one thing. And it's just not like that anymore. I mean, people don't go to work in one industry and stay there forever and ever, or even stay at the same job anymore. That's just not how things work.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a leftover from past, but it hasn't been that way in such a long time. I'm not sure why that's still lingering the way it is, because it's been quite some time that has changed. Mm-hmm. And I think that technology, like I said, has helped that to change, that you really have to be very versatile in terms of what you're offering, and even more versed in the technology. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were talking earlier, and it's just that every day there's yet another way, another social media platform, or another change to a platform, or another thing that you're thinking about. Well, should I do this, or should I do that, and should I do the other thing? And then you've got to learn about this new thing that people are putting out here, and it's constant. So I don't think it's really possible to be a business owner, at least an online one, and just sit there and go, I'm just going to keep selling this so-called signature product. Mm-hmm. And never move past this, or maybe people are doing other things but not saying they are, mm-hmm. or marketing those in a different way. Kind of like with authors who may be writing in a bunch of different genres but using pen names. Mm-hmm. So you may not even know they're doing 10 other things because they've created a brand with one name, but then they've got a bunch of other things going on that you're not even aware of.
Right. And the point is that they're doing it, whether you know about it or not, they're doing it. So again, it's an important plan. I mean, if you think about it, Deb, if you have your, if you have your first business and you're making money with that, and then you start something else for another stream of income, and let's say you do that 5 times in a row, and you have now your main business, and then you have 5 multiple streams of income. Now, each one of those might be like, one might produce $1,000, the next one might only produce 50, and then the other one produces 2,000. I mean, the numbers are always going to be skewed, but you add that money up, and let's just say you have a really bad month in your business, and you're, for maybe 2 months, you're in the negative. I mean, thank God you have that there, because most of us as entrepreneurs, and they always say this, they're like, oh, you should have 6 months worth of living expenses, 6 to 8 months in the bank saved up that you never touch. And that's just not realistic. I mean, it's a great thought and concept, but it doesn't, life happens. People who have children, they might need braces, mm-hmm. Medical bills that need to be paid. I mean, that money can go pretty quickly. So if you have that, it's coming in, oh, thank God, because, I had a bad month last month and I'm having another one this time. And it buys you that time to not panic.
Right. It's true.
And anybody that thinks you're not going to have that, I don't care how long you've been in business. 10 years, 10 months, 5 days, 5 years, 50 years, you're going to have ups and downs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Normal.
You start. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a normal thing. And I think that isn't emphasized enough for people who are coming into business right now, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So I probably subscribe to too many newsletters, but, I do that sometimes just to see what people are doing, or because they offered something in that moment that seemed interesting to me. And, some blogging people will, be like, oh, well, I made this much money this month and that month, and here's my income report. And, they're always making more and more and more and more. And there's never a launch that doesn't go well. There's never a month that doesn't go well. Everything's beautiful, and I'm on Instagram smiling with my hubby or whoever, and life is great always. And I'm like, well, that's not realistic in the business world. It's not even realistic in the employment world.
It's not, but you ask any one of those people for the actual bank statements, you'll never hear from them again. I'm serious. I'm being dead serious. Ask them for their bank statements, because I could sit here and I could make up spreadsheets all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry. I mean,
Yeah.
I could make up I worked for an attorney for a short period of time. This is years ago before I went out on my own. And, when you're having to make up profit and loss statements, I mean, anybody can make those. I mean, come on.
That's true. I find it a little troubling because those people who haven't been out here long enough to understand that are going to buy into that idea that, here's his income statement. I've made, $20,000 last month because I did a, affiliate post and I got all this money and then now I'm living the life and then next month I'm making more and more and more. I'm like, if you're not telling people that as I said, every launch is not perfect. Everything is not always going up. There's always things that go in cycles. If you're not reflecting that, then I'm going to kind of give you the side eye because I know that this cannot be accurate. But the person coming out, and I understand what that's like because I was once that person who's hearing from all these people who are only talking success. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to be like the Jerry Maguire and say, show me the money because all you're showing me is a piece of paper with numbers on it.
Yeah.
No.
I agree.
Well, I have some friends who are very high up in the company with Mary Kay. And one of the things that they do when they are marketing to people, and I will give them credit, they make copies of their checks and show people, so it's an actual check. They do, I guess they block out the routing number or whatever, but it's their actual check and it gives there's the dates printed on there, the amount. So it's like, that's better. I mean, to me, it's like, show me that check, show me that PayPal statement that you're getting all that money coming in because again, anybody can do a spreadsheet.
Right.
So you have to kind of take that attitude of, show me the money. And again, and you're right, not everything is always going to go as planned. And it might be something that you're wanting to write some books and make money off of that. And again, if your goal is to make $500 a month, that's attainable, but it's not going to happen in the first month.
Right. It takes you've got to ramp up to these things and there's always the ups and the downs and changes and this and that and that's also something to keep in mind while you're putting all these different things together. So I think there's a plus in terms of having the multiple streams, but don't buy into the idea that everything is just going to go up, up, up. I'm just, saying that is not really how it goes in real life.
It's not, and that's why I always go back to what I said before, with an additional stream of income. Is it something that you want or is it something that you need? And, if it's something that you want, you have more time to dabble with it and figure it out. The need is totally different because that means I need an extra $1,000 a month and I need it now. Then that changes how you go about doing this.
Yes, it does. It definitely does. And, you should really kind of look at what you can do, what you may already have in place that you can build on. But don't be so quick to just jump off into something else. You have nothing, maybe no experience or no foundations laid because you saw someone on the internet saying that they did all this in 5 minutes. Just kind of step back from that for a bit because it does sound very attractive, but I can tell you in all honesty that there's a lot more going on under the hood than you're being told. And just take that very seriously.
Hi, this is Deborah. Not only am I host of Women Entrepreneurs Radio, but I'm also a writer and coach. I've learned that making professional changes calls for a change in mindset, and that's not always easy to do. In my book, Think Like an Entrepreneur, Transforming Your Career and Taking Charge of Your Life, you'll learn the 5 steps to thinking like an entrepreneur so that you can move from idea to action. You'll also get information on how to manage fear of failure and how to banish self-doubt. And you'll receive lots of motivation to pick you up and point you in the right direction when you're facing the emotional and mental challenges that come with making life changes. In fact, one reviewer said, the book gave me ideas to match with my own feelings. This book is clear, straightforward. All tips are really good and easy to apply. I couldn't agree more. So get your copy today of Think Like an Entrepreneur, Transforming Your Career and Taking Charge of Your Life. It's available in print, ebook, and audiobook on Amazon.com.
what about tips to find additional streams of income?
I guess some tips that, again, that I would offer would be, sit down, take some time, jot down those ideas. And if you're not coming up with anything, call some of the people that you know or that you do business with and say, look, I need or I want, whatever the case may be, to have an additional stream of income. Do you have any ideas for me that would be complementing to my business? Because again, we've talked about so many different things. It could be an educational course. It could be an educational product. It could be a product you've been working on, or a new service that you're going to provide, or it could be something in direct sales, or it could be something like the t-shirts or the mugs or whatever. Or it could be something totally different from what you do. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I think from a marketing standpoint, it's easier to mix it in with what you're already doing. But you really need to sit down and think about that. And there has to be a certain amount of, even if as a need standpoint, Deb, I think, you're still going to be in a selling mode. So let's say, for example, if you are at that point where you need to make an extra $1,000 a month, and let's just say you're a real estate agent, and you're complementing things that you can do would be to get dual license to become a mortgage broker, or do staging or interior design, in addition to selling the real estate, but you're not crazy about either of those ideas, and you're like, I really don't know anything about design, and I don't want to be a mortgage broker, then at that point, you're going to want to look at things that are not complementing. Maybe you're interested in, maybe you speak French and you want to teach people, maybe do some French classes and teach people how to speak French. Or maybe you have an interest in photography and you want to start doing something with stock photography. The possibilities are endless. You just have to kind of sit down and think about where you are, where you want to be, what's the goal, and what is it that you want to do. Because if you are going to be starting a second stream of income, that's additional work for you to do. So if you're not happy about what you're doing, you will not put any work in. I don't care how bad you need the money. You just won't unless you're required to. So it really needs to be something that you want to do. So if there's the complementing products and services are of no interest to you, then move away from that and say, okay, what is it that I like to do? That's a great way to turn your hobby, things you enjoy doing, into a paid business. So you need to look at that. What are your hobbies? What do you like doing? Gardening, working with kids, building cars, painting. There's just a multitude of things that you could push into that. So you really need to think about those things, and and again, putting the seriousness in it that you would the current business that you have, and allotting time for it. Pull out your calendar and say, okay, I'm going to spend 15 hours a week working on this outside of my own business, and schedule that time in, treat it like a sales appointment, and spend that time on that business. Whether it's building the website or marketing it or doing the, if you're teaching classes, there's just so many different things. And then you need to sit down and think, okay, you got to come up with a game plan. It's almost like starting another business. You're spinning off another wheel, so to speak, or another top. You need to come up with a marketing plan for it. How am I going to market this? What would be and again, that's when I go back to the complementing products and services of what you already do, because I use my image consulting business as a great example of, okay, I don't need to market K Couture Cosmetics and the It Works stuff. I incorporate that into that business, so it's all marketed at the same time. But if it's something totally different, you're going to have to get a different marketing route. For example, if you're going to be painting and you're really good at it, and you're working with a framer who's going to let you hang the artwork in the frame shop or whatever, you're going to have to go about marketing that different, maybe promoting at events or going in and talking to local businesses that might want to buy your artwork. You're going to have to come up with your own plan to market that business and how much you're going to invest in it, because even though you want to create that multiple stream of income, you're going to have to invest something in it. I don't care what it is. And it might only be $20, but you're going to have to invest something in it, in not just your time, but financially. So that's why I always say it's better to start this before the need arises.
Mm-hmm.
Because the need's going to arise someday.
Mm-hmm.
Mark my word, it will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's true, because there's a lot of things I've seen about being an affiliate of a company, and as far as blogging goes and people becoming affiliates and that kind of thing. But what a lot of times people don't tell you is that, okay, you can be an affiliate and there's different ways to do that. But if you're going to do that, then most often than not, you're going to have to write content or create content or film content, or in some way you're going to have to now do work to promote that affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to create posts, or you're going to have to do a video of something, or however you do it. It's not just something that you just put a link there and hope people will click on it, because usually they will not.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to now create things to get them to that, which now is more work that you're doing. It's not just going to sit there passively and make all this money for you, even though people may tell you that it will. It does not.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is to understand, okay, if I want to go, for instance, in that route, is the time I'm putting into doing this really worth what I may be getting out of it? And maybe it's not, depending on the affiliate and what the payout is. Maybe it really isn't worth the work you're putting into it. So now you have to kind of rethink that strategy to see if maybe there's something else that you already are doing, already know, already have some kind of foundation in, that people may know that you do, or whatever, that now may be the better thing to do and may also give you a better payout at the end of it. So that's something that I have learned myself from my own efforts, looking, to do, some affiliates on one of my blogs, and kind of realizing that, okay, you could do that and people contact you after a while about being an affiliate, but then is this really worth the effort for me? And sometimes it is not. It's not worth the extra effort for you to do that, because now there's extra work you have to do. And, if you're only getting $20 back, but you're putting in $120 worth of work, then you got to think about that. Is that really something that's helpful for me to do?
Yeah, and you do have to look at that logistically. And I will say one thing about affiliate marketing: if you are looking for a multiple streams of income, I think it's something to look at later on down, like make it your fourth or fifth.
Yeah.
Multiple stream, because I have found, even just with the marketing in general, that it is very tough to promote. You have to put more time and energy into it than what the people who tell you, oh, you can make millions doing affiliate marketing. There is a lot more work involved than what you think. And again, it's, it could be a year before you really see a decent residual, like maybe $1,900 a month or $2,000 a month. And that's you working really hard, like you said, creating that content, using the links and sharing and just really promoting it. And it is a constant job. I recently, actually last year, and they had sent it to me. I was like, wow, that's really interesting. One of the articles that I wrote for She Owns It, the female entrepreneur website. We made my article that I wrote for them last year, I think it was in January, made the top 50 list for being one of the top 50 articles shared on social media. Now that's a big to do, because I was on that list, as you can imagine. And I think I was number 48 or 49 on the list, but still I made the list. And that article was shared, and I want to say it was something like 980 some odd times on social media. So, the fact that it was shared that many times, and we promoted that quite a bit. So a lot of work was still put into that, logistically. So, even with it being shared that many times, when we look at the links that are clicked on, it's still not that many. It's not like what you would think. I think some people think, oh, well, if it was shared 900, it's probably been viewed 100,000 or 500,000 times. And, the numbers can be very low for the link clicks. Yeah.
Yeah. Less people will click on a link than may actually view that, view that thing. So I think that's the thing that people don't realize when they're deciding on what streams they're going to add. You know, that may sound really great, and there's nothing wrong with it if you know how to work it. But if you're someone just starting out and it sounds attractive to you because it seems passive, quote unquote, I'll just put this link here and I'll make all this money.
Right.
No. I don't care what anybody tells you. I don't care. I just don't care. It's not true. So please take all that with a grain of salt. I'm telling you, I just wrote this one article and then I made $1 million and then I just went on the beach. No. That, you know, that article may have been promoted all over the place and they could have written that 10 years ago and maybe it got a click and then finally something happened. But it's not, if it was that easy, we'd all be doing it. And we'd all be millionaires right now. We'd all be on the beach. So I'm just telling you, don't always look for things like that. Maybe the thing that you're doing, your hobby, your interest, something you're doing that you're discounting right now and don't realize is this value in it and there's people want it is a thing that maybe you should look at first before you look at this other stuff that now you're still going to have to do work to promote. There may not be something you even have as much enthusiasm in. And may have to wait a long time to see anything come out of it.
Yeah, so I mean, again, the affiliate marketing, I would say put that, you know, once you spin off a couple of and again, I think multiple streams, you know, are a great idea. You know, the more you have, the better if they're complementing products. But affiliate marketing, I would put on the back burner. I wouldn't start with it by any means.
But Kerry, could you please share with everyone where they can find you?
Absolutely. They can go to the website, strictlymarketingmagazine.com, and they're welcome to take a look at the magazine. They can view it online or listen to any of the past episodes of Strictly Marketing Talk Radio.
This is something I think that will never get old, and I in my opinion, this is just the standard of how things are going to be if you want to be competitive and if you want to kind of look out for your own interests. Is to really understand that you should have more than one income stream, even if you're someone who isn't a regular job. At this point, I think it's something to always keep in mind, different things that you can do, and maybe start cultivating that if you can, and not wait until something happens and then there you are and then you're scrambling. So, you know, I think that's important to note. So Kerry, do you have any, you know, final thoughts around this topic you'd like to share?
I would say kind of as just a final thought is, you know, again, you have to kind of get over the fact because I think you are going to hear from people that are going to be like, why are you doing this? Or, you know, aren't you doing XYZ anymore? And it's, you know, so you always have to realize that there's going to be people that are going to say that to you. But you just have to kind of ignore it, brush it off, not, you know, and just let them know, hey, I'm, you know, building multiple streams of income and there is nothing wrong with that. And again, it kind of sticks in my craw a little bit because we have people out there who are saying that there is something wrong with it. You should only be doing one thing, and that just simply isn't true. So just be prepared to deal with a little bit of setback. But, you know, again, at the end of the day, the people who are saying things like that to you are not the ones paying your bills. They are not the ones that you can go to and say, well, I actually need $1,000 next month. Can you give it to me? You know, of course, they're going to be like, no, you know. So their opinion doesn't matter. But, you know, be prepared for a little bit of blowback. It's going to happen. It's happened to all of us anytime we're stepping out trying to improve our life or do something new, and this won't be any different.
Right. That's an excellent point. Everybody's not going to approve of what you're doing or understand it, and, you know, a lot of times they're going to share their feelings about it, whether you want to hear
And that's okay. And it's just let them, you know, thank you for sharing and move on.
Right.
Thank you for sharing and move on. And you just have to stay focused like that. I mean, you know, you think back to when you started your business, and I think everybody goes through this where they have at least one or two family members or friends that are like, why did you do that? You did such a really great job. And I mean, and they sound just like that. Everybody has a family member or friend that's like that. And then you feel compelled to explain, but at the end of the day, you don't owe anybody an explanation.
No.
Unless they are willing to pay your bills or, you know, if they're not, their opinion does not pay your bill.
Right.
It doesn't pay your late fees. It doesn't pay, your payment arrangements or your electric bill, light bill, whatever. It doesn't pay any of that. So a good rule of thumb is, just smile, thanks for sharing, move on. Don't even engage it. I found out the hard way. It's like as soon as you engage it, that's what they're wanting. They want you to get frustrated and see it their way. And I think a lot of people come from that whole thing is from a point of concern for the other person, but what they don't realize is that it's not, you're not being helpful. Helpful is saying, hey, I saw you just started a new business. That's great. Kudos to you for going out on your own. Is there anything I can do to help you? That's being supportive.
Yeah.
Not the other way around where, well, what are you going to do if you can't pay your bills? And, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on in that voice, but I won't. I'll give the listeners a headache. You just have to, again, just not engage. And I think, your energy is best suited to put into your sideline business or your, new stream of income that you're trying to develop and just let people know, hey, look, it's a complementing product or service and it's a great way for me to make some additional money in addition to what I'm already doing. And logistically, you don't owe anybody an explanation. And that's a whole nother topic all on its own, but
yeah.
just keep that in mind. Yeah.
How about that? That's true though. And, the thing that you try may or may not work the way you want, so just be willing to say, well, okay, that worked and that was great. Or, I tried that and I don't think it led me to where I wanted to be. So maybe I need to, try something a little different. So there's nothing wrong if you can, try something out. And give it a try. And if that didn't work, there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm just going to shut that down because I've done that myself. With things that were like, well, I didn't get out of that what I wanted, or that didn't lead me where I thought I wanted to go, or that wasn't really what I thought was going to be. So don't be afraid to also say, I'm not going that direction anymore, or that's a part of what I was doing that I'm not doing anymore. Or maybe morphs into something else that makes more sense to you. So don't be afraid of that either.
Yeah, don't. I mean, I look at when I started my own business back in 2005, I started with Omega Image. That's what I was going to do. I fell into marketing. It was not something I was planning on doing. It happened that way. But the image consulting always went on the back burner, and every time I tried to go and work on it, the marketing stuff would get busier. And, but that is why I originally started my business. And it doesn't always go as planned. And yeah, you might try something and again, it could lead you to your next opportunity, of something that you really like to do. So, and all of us have multiple interests. I mean, I love marketing. I like the sales aspect of things, and I love the image consulting, and there's no reason in the world why I can't do both. Right. I mean, do I get some people that give me a weird look when I say, yeah, I'm the publisher of the magazine, and do you want to buy some It Works products? I mean, do I get a weird look? Well, I don't do it like that, but I mean, there are some people that are like, oh, okay. But the people who really know me too also know that that's really my background. It's image consulting, so shrug it off and move forward.
Right. I think that's important, not to get caught up in trying to explain yourself to people or explain what you're doing or why, or the different things that you may be trying, because so much of it is trial and error. A lot is so much of it as well, or just kind of moving on to other things that change and grow as you change and grow. Just something to keep in mind. With business ownership, a lot of that is your own evolution as well. So don't feel that you have to stay with something that really doesn't suit you, or you've outgrown or worked for a while, and there's something else that you see an opportunity. Be open to those things. I think that's part of it, a part of having your business, and you can really make those decisions for yourself, as opposed to what you think you should be doing or what someone else is trying to tell you should be doing. That's really the point, to understand that it really is up to what you think is right for you. So if you can take that away from this conversation, I think you'll be doing great. So we've come to the end of another show. So Kerry, I'm really glad that you could join me again today. This is, again, been very informative, and really glad to have you on again as a co-host.
I am as well. It's always so much fun doing a show with you, Deb, and I look forward to many, many more in the future.
Yeah, so do I. So everyone, I know you got a lot of good information here, so make sure that you share it on social media and let everyone know to check the show out. So once again, it's Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey, and my co-host, Kerry Heaps. And thank you for joining us today, and we will see you again next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us. You can also join in the conversation on Facebook.com/Women Entrepreneurs and on the website, WomenEntrepreneursSecrets.com. And don't forget to listen in on dvcoach.podomatic.com and on iTunes.